anything out of this divided Congress right now, which Nancy Pelosi refused to get anything done, of course, before the election. And I think Mitch McConnell was right to point that out yesterday. And I understand the Republicans and Democrats who voted for this, even if they wanted more money to American families, American individuals under those thresholds, because I agree that Americans deserve more, not less, than they got in the first stimulus when they're telling us that the pandemic and the COVID is going to be raging these next few months, even while the vaccines are being distributed, so that there's going to be more shutdowns for safety reasons, potential more job losses.
Throughout the summer, Democrats cruelly blocked COVID relief legislation in an effort to advance their extreme left-wing agenda and influence the election. Then, a few months ago, Congress started negotiations on a new package to get urgently needed help to the American people. It's taken forever. However, the bill they are now planning to send back to my desk is much different than anticipated. It really is a disgrace.
The president, Dad, willing to potentially veto this, and just talking to Sam Bennett earlier, he can do this by pocket.
Can we do better than what's been put forward? And the answer to that is pretty simple. The answer to can we do better is yes, we can do better. Then the question is, do we have the time to do better? Well, the truth is we do have the time to do better. The Constitution sets forth that the president has the authority to veto. He can veto it, and then there are not going to be the votes there to override that veto. Thus, I think this is what the key is for, can we get a better bill put forward? And it sounds like to me, Harry, as from a law and economic standpoint, legally we know it can be done. From an economic standpoint, more direct aid to the American families that are the ones really hurting through this, and especially as we come to what are going to be some tough months ahead.
Nancy Pelosi, Than, has said she's willing to go to the House floor and do a voice vote on this and thinks they could get it up to 2,000 quickly.
The problem with that approach, Jordan, that Speaker Pelosi puts forward is it doesn't address the second half of what President Trump said, which is the hundreds of billions of dollars that are going overseas or to wasteful programs instead of to the American people. What the president rightly asked for was for Congress to prioritize their spending. Rather than send those hundreds of billions overseas, spend them to the people who are suffering right now.
Congresswoman Gabbard is joining us now.
Yeah, Congresswoman, it's Jay Sekulow. Great to have you. Thanks for being with us. We appreciated your stand on a lot of issues. This one in particular. And thanks for calling us. I know you're working today. You called this a slap in the face to the American people. We've said this was the initial plan was not enough direct aid. There was a lot of other stuff in there, but not enough direct aid.
When you look at the hundreds of billions of dollars in this bill that are going to just about everything, not only in America, but in the world, except for providing that direct relief and assistance to Americans who need it the most, it points to how disgraceful this bill really is, and it points to the really messed up sense of priorities that leaders in Washington have right now. The reality is that if those sitting at that negotiating table felt it was a priority to provide this direct assistance into the hands of the American people who are struggling the most, then we would have had a very different result. Instead, what we have is hundreds of billions of dollars going to special interest corporations, other countries and other areas, with literally mere crumbs being left for the American people, expecting them to say thank you very much. Give me a break. It's ridiculous.
I think there's a lot of, it's not opposition, it's support for what the president has said, which is get me something better for the American people. You know, $2,400 for a family of four, it's not nothing, but this didn't happen 3 months ago like it should have. That should have been the next stimulus round probably. Instead, we waited because of politics. That's clear. They didn't want anything done before the election. Okay, we're past that now.
More direct aid to businesses, particularly small businesses and individuals, is essential. It's a crucial aspect of any coronavirus relief bill. Instead, Congress has focused more and more of its attention on peripheral issues, including $85.5 million to Cambodia, $40 million to the Kennedy Center.
These kind of two pressure points. You have the President of the United States, you have Democrats on board with this, and Republicans on board with this. The question is the time there to get this done? We're still waiting to hear from Majority Leader McConnell, who has been very frustrated by dealing with Nancy Pelosi on this, rightfully so, and to figure out if he believes he's got the time to do this.